Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today we're going to talk about needing assistance or devices to help you. But before we move on to that, I want to do a little recap on some of the most important topics that we have discussed so far. And one is you can glance at the past, but don't stare. To refresh your memory, it's that the past is over and done. And when we look back at it, particularly if we're looking at something that was unfavorable, it will turn our mood for the worst. All we have is from this moment forward. The second thing I'd like to go over with you is do not depend on anyone to make you happy. In other words, don't let or try not to let anybody, what they say or do or don't do, affect your moods. Of course, with that being said, try to surround yourself with people that love you. But for the most part, do not depend on others to make you happy. The third thing is not my business what other people say or do. And that is try not to judge others and try not to let others' judgment of you affect you negatively. I know it's easy to sit back and say they should have done this or they shouldn't have done that, but everybody is reacting on how they were raised, what they know, what they've experienced, and it's not for us to say what somebody else should or should not be doing or saying. We can only control what we do, what we say, how we treat others. And by trying to control others causes frustration, and frustration causes depression. And I think depression is opposed to your body healing. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about when you're in a situation where you need assistance, either from a person or a device, whether it be a walker, a wheelchair, a hospital bed, oxygen, whatever the case may be. One thing I've learned from this experience, because I've needed assistance myself, is that you have to be ready, not just physically, but there's a whole emotional component to it. And I hope that caregivers, whether they be friends, family, or professionals, I hope they understand this. I know sometimes you're in a situation where you need assistance immediately, and you really don't have a lot you can do about that. But if you have the say, regardless of what it appears you're ready to be using, you have got to be emotionally ready. But with that being said, you have to be careful using other people as well. Because I didn't want to use a walker, I would hang on to people's arms, thinking maybe it wasn't as obvious that I was having trouble. But consequently, I ended up hurting people because it makes them walk a little off balance also. So you do what you have to do. I want to share with you a little story. Well, it wasn't a very good experience. I didn't handle it very well when somebody first pointed out that I needed assistance. I was visiting somebody, and they wanted to go to a well-known museum/library. And I said, I can't go. I can't walk around that long. And they said, well, we'll rent you a wheelchair. Oh, my gosh. That was like a ton of bricks hit me. I slammed that person's front door and walked out. Now, in hindsight, I realized that was very immature, very inappropriate, not to mention I'm lucky I didn't break the door because it had glass in the middle. But I realized then it's not just a matter of it's available to you, but you have got to be in the right frame of mind to use it. Another story I want to share with you is I did end up getting a wheelchair. And the day it came, I was going to a club to listen to music. Well, I was going to know a lot of people that went to that same club. So the girl that I went with, I asked her if we could go early. We did go early. I guess I felt like maybe people would notice I was sitting there in a wheelchair. I don't know what I was thinking. But when the music was over and it was time to leave, I was just inside. I was just dying, thinking, I do not want to leave in a wheelchair in front of all these people. So I said to the girl that took me, can we wait till it empties out a little bit and then go? And she wouldn't go for it. She didn't understand what I was going through. So that is one of the things I want to point out. Whether you're assisting someone or you're the one going through it, have a little compassion, because it takes a lot to say, I need assistance. I'm not as independent as I was. And to be honest with you, I think everybody feels that way, whether they're in a situation of needing it all the time or needing help once in a while, because I've been with people that are pretty healthy. And for that particular day, for whatever reason, they may need a little help. And I can see that they get embarrassed and say no. So with that being said, I think we all have a little bit of vanity. It might make us feel like we're less than because we're not who we used to be. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you something really good that's come out of that. And even though when people come over and all that I am doing is sitting there, they are there because they like spending time with me. They like my conversation, not because I have on designer jeans or I'm carrying a designer purse or whatever. But you really find out that people love you for who you are. I have found that it's okay to say I need help. It's okay to need assistance. It's okay to say I'm tired. It's okay to say I can't do this. Because it is too exhausting to pretend that it's anything but what it really is. You've got to keep it real. It's just too much stress. I know when I didn't want people to see the white elephant in the room, in other words, to really notice that something was going on with me. So I would try my best to get in and out of the car, in and out of a social setting. And I would worry so much about if I could do it or not, that my heart would literally start pounding. So when your body tells you, I'm tired, tell whoever you're with, I can't do that right now. I need to rest. It's okay. All of it is okay. Keep it real. Whatever assistance you need does not define you. It doesn't take away from who you are. This world would not be the same without you. You are the only one that has your DNA, your personality, your looks, everything about you. If you weren't here, there would be a huge void. People love you for who you are. But with that being said, one thing that does make us feel good and encourages us is to move forward every day, even if it's with little baby steps. And first of all, I'd like to talk about exercise. I know everybody has a different situation, and if the only thing you can move is one finger, then exercise that one finger. Also, if you can, put on your makeup every day. Comb your hair every day. Get dressed. Keep things as normal as possible. But even if you can't move any part of your body, you can still think. Your brain is still there. Your mind is still there. And that reminds me of a book that a lady loaned me. She said, I have a book I want you to read. Now, when somebody does this, my first thought is, oh my gosh, now I got to read the book to be polite. So I took it home and I read a few pages. At least I could say I read a little bit. And it was called When the Music Stops. I can't remember who the author is, but on the cover it's got a man playing a cello. This man, he was in the symphony, in Chicago, I think it was, and he got MS pretty badly. So one of the exercises he would do was mental. In his case, because it was MS, he would visualize his nervous system. So he would say to himself, my brain has found new and improved pathways to my muscles and my nerves. And he would picture like a roadmap of nerves going to the right areas. When you do this, at least you know you're doing something. If you're exercising that one finger, if you're exercising your brain by visualization, and it doesn't matter what is going on with you, you can visualize it improving, then you know you're taking steps toward getting better. And by getting dressed every day and putting on your makeup and doing your hair keeps you feeling normal. So even if your movement forward is baby steps, it doesn't matter. Just keep moving forward. I have been told that athletes use this technique. For example, basketball players, professional basketball players, that they visualize the ball going in the basket. There's something about putting it out in the universe, or your body reacts to what your mind tells it. And by visualizing it, it actually becomes a way of life. And I remember finding this out when I was a little girl. My best friend and I were pretty bored, so we started throwing a ball into a bucket. And I remember saying to her, watch, when I say I'm going to make it, I make it. And when I say I'm not, I don't. I was amazed by this. And I was doing exactly what I'm talking about today. Your brain tells your body what to do. If your brain is telling a certain organ to function better, to walk better, whatever it is, there is a lot of power to doing that. So if you can't exercise your body, at least exercise your brain. And preferably do both, along with eating correctly, changing your thoughts to more positive thoughts. All of these things work in the direction of taking steps forward to good health, to happiness. Remember, it is what it is right now. Doesn't mean it's going to be forever. It's what you need right at the moment. Also remember, if you weren't here, there would be a huge void in the world because nobody, absolutely nobody can replace you. Your personality, your DNA, your movement, your laughter, everything about you is irreplaceable. What's really interesting about this is that when you come to the point where you really can't give anything else, then you really find out who loves you for you, who wants to sit and talk with you, even though you can't give anything but conversation. So with all this being said, remember that all of this stuff is what they call a human thing. And we just simply need to find our new normal. And our new normal isn't necessarily bad. But regardless, we can move around it and keep moving forward. So for now, take care of you. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful week, a blessed week, and I will talk to you next week. God bless. Bye-bye.